Good afternoon, Meena sir. Thanks for joining with us. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, very much.
Okay. Thank you for joining, Prabhatji. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So I think it's three. So Arvind sir has joined, and Shomitra sir, are you here? Shomitra sir, are you here?
Can you hear me? Am I?
Yes. It's okay.
Yes. Hear me?
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Am I audible, sir? Shomitra sir.
Yes. Yes.
Arvind sir, good afternoon. So, Jyoti, I think we should start at 3 p.m. and we should start our session. Please, and let the participants join.
Sure, sir. Okay, sir. Good afternoon and warm welcome to everyone present here in today's brainstorming session. I am Jyoti Pasi, Project
Yes, sir.
Executive, South Asian Institute of Advanced Research and Development. Thank you for joining us in the roundtable discussion on today's topic, Decarbonization, Green Energy, and Indian Budget to 2023. On behalf of SAIARD, my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speakers, panelist members, the chairman of SAIARD, and the participants for accepting the invitation and joining us today. So without any delay, may I request Mr. Saumitra Mukherjee, Project Head CSR SAIARD, to coordinate further session. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, Shomitra sir, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, of all.
Prabhat, sir, your mic is disabled.
I said his audio system has a problem. We are not able to hear him. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
You are audible completely. Yeah, Shomitra sir, please.
I am audible.
Yes. Now it's
Yeah.
okay. Please.
Okay. Very few be able to come on a list with a now. Here is happening and renewable treatment of it. It's a river canal, metals and engineering. Pharma Managing Director, One Power Corporation Limited, Mr. Sadu, Officer, Gokul, Energy India, and Mr. S. India, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our on decarbonization in the I am Amit Mukherjee. Indian Budget 2023 is to highlight an Indian ability to decarbonization of the one and international monetary resistance of also to reduce the carbon intensity of the economy The government of India already knows the role you and was realizing the vision of CO2 emission by 2050 and achieving net zero by recently the tech policy of and with detailed study on the policy and implementation required for CC invest is critical to long sustainability.
Are you people able to hear him, or we are not able to hear him?
Can you?
There is a problem in his audio, right?
Yes, it's not actually clear.
Soumitra sir,
Am I audible now?
yes,
No. We are not able to hear you. Samita, we are not able to hear you.
Am I audible now?
But you are not able
Hello?
to listen continuously. Your system has a problem. You have some signal issue or internet issue. We have not heard
maybe.
anything from you.
Is it?
Yes.
Then Mr. Professor Biswajit Roy Chaudhary, please you contact the webinar, please.
Now it's okay. You may say, sir. Now it's
It's
seems
okay.
clear.
You can try now.
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can, sir. Now it seems okay. Fine.
Is it okay now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay now.
Yes.
The taking will not only help to reduce carbon intensity of the economy, but will concurrently help to create job opportunity. The ultimate goal is to reduce dependence on fossil fuel inputs and make the country adopt technology and market leadership in the sunrise sectors. This is growth-oriented budget, and the effort made towards green growth, including policies and fund allocation, will help us to achieve the target of green hydrogen production of 5 to 7 million by 2030. Now I request Professor Biswajit Roy Chaudhary to conduct the webinar, please.
Thank you, Soumitra sir, and thanks to the honorable delegates, those who have joined on behalf of SAIARD. It is our esteemed pleasure to welcome to all of you. And I think that it's the topic which we have today, we have selected, that is the decarbonization, green energy, and the India Budget 2023. So it is the honorable resource person will definitely deliver the lecture. But on behalf of South Asian Institute for Advanced Research and Development, as a chairman, I heartily welcome to the today's guest, Mr. S.R. Meena sir, from the scientist D from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Prabhat Verma sir, and also Subramanyam Pulipaka, and Shardulji will also join, and Vibhorji will also join within a minute. And I would not say too much about the topic because the experts are there, but I would like to mention some points that on behalf of SAIARD, we are basically focusing as a think tank. We are working on the academic research, policy framing, capacity building, as well as the livelihood support. And as Soumitra sir has mentioned, that regarding in the budget sections, we have gained a lots of expertise, lots of scenarios are gained from this new and renewable energy. And as you know that the decarbonization is now become a challenge, and each and every country has faced the same challenges. And we are proud to say that government of India and all the industries, those who are engaged with these decarbonization initiatives, they are actually working so much hard, and hope very soon we will reach the achievements, we will reach the thinking, the vision which the government of India has initiated under the mission of sustainable development goal. And definitely we definitely we can support that kind of mission. And secondly, in case of SAIARD, as we are also working in the research policy framing sectors, and also in case of livelihood sector, livelihood development sector, entrepreneurship development sector, which are a very prominent field, I think. And in that respect, I really welcome this topic. The Mr. Soumitra Mukherjee, the convener of this webinar, as well as the coordinator uh, and our project CSR head for choosing such kind of topic. Also, I thanks to all the participants, those who have joined, and all along with our today's session chair, honorable chairperson for this session, the chair, Dr. Arvind, Professor Arvind Bhandari. He is also the senior fellow of our institute and the professor of Birla University in Ranchi. And I think without any delay, I would like to request to Professor Arvind Bhandari to conduct today's session. And once again, I request to all of you to stay with us at the end of this session, and hopefully after that session we will definitely gain some extra ideas, extra vision points, and on that basis we can work in future and we can find out some points through which we can also support our country. Thank you. Jai Hind. Over to you, Arvind sir. Arvind sir, are you here? Am I audible?
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, most
Dr.
probably I'm
Arvind, sir.
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
I am audible, hopefully. Good afternoon to all of you. We are very delighted to welcome all the eminent speaker and the professor and the researcher in this particular domain. And the topic we have selected, decarbonization, green energy, and the Indian budgets. I was there. There was a session on this particular day. I think it is the 1st of February, right? 1st of February, it was being discussed, and it was a live sessions from New Delhi, and the university also conducted some live sessions, interactions with some of the eminent speaker and all those things. So I can recall this particular terminology, as the government also has given too much of emphasis on the green energy, and yes, that is the reason. So when I have seen this particular topic and this sir has talked to me, that's okay. This particular topic we are going to discuss in the budget. Hopefully, most probably it is the first organizations in the East, or most probably in the country, which is talking about this particular topic, or they have selected this particular topic for the discussions. So on behalf of the SAIARDs, I'll be requesting to proceed for this for the next the resource persons. For the resource persons to continue the session, sir. Okay. We'll come back to you, but I'll be requesting to the next session. I think Pravat sir, are you there? Pravat sir is there. You'll be.
No, first resource person is Mr. S.R. Meena sir, scientist.
Oh, okay. So I'll be
Yeah.
requesting Meena sir to come and start the discussions, please.
Very good afternoon to all of you, sir, and thank you for giving such a wonderful opportunity for me to share my thoughts, which I am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, completely.
My screen is visible to all of you, sir.
No, it's still not. Maybe it's coming.
So how can I share my screen?
Sir, you may find there is an option. There is the share or present option. First, you open your PPT slide. First, you open your PPT or slide in your desktop.
So now,
yeah, it's coming.
It's visible, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay. Once again, I warmly good afternoon to all of you, sir. As our country is doing a lot of efforts, not only for energy production but also for sustainable development, and it is right time to implement the ideas and to minimize the gap between ideas and implementation of that. So here I would like to introduce about the national bioenergy programs, as our government of India is initiated the bioenergy or renewable energy scheme and program in the country since 1980 or before that. And in the world, only India has the separate cabinet ministry for renewable energy policy implementation and many more products and form of the policy instruments. So as all aware that energy is a essential factor for all kind of developmental activity in the country. So for production of energy also create a lot of problem. So as the country has so many challenges, not for energy but also for environmental crisis like growing population, waste generation, lot of waste we are generating each and every day, cause lot of problem on environment and many more problem. So it is right time to
Mina Saab, can you go
slide.
on a presentation mode? The slide can be a bigger one if you go in a presentation mode.
Okay. Yeah.
This is great. Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is all around the world. We all are focusing on development of various renewable energy sources, and luckily our country has lot of initiative. One is Panchamrat, as our honorable Prime Minister gave the Panchamrat in Conference of Parties 26. We have ambitious target for say 500 gigawatt of non-fossils energy by year 2030. We have target of 50% of energy requirement only through renewable energy sources by 2030. Similarly, we have a net zero emission target by 2070. And also reduction in the carbon emissions 1 billion tons up to 2030. So all these are need a strong policy supports. But here I want to highlight the requirements of our gas and crude oils. So the biogas production in India is not more than 5% of the total LPG consumption, and we have target of 15% of mixing the gas into the total gas consumption. But currently we have 6.5%. And average is more than 23%. So there is a great, requirement and infrastructure development. Then only we can address this issue. Biogas is not a renewable source, but also support for waste dissemination, power generation, employment generation, and environmental issues is there. Therefore, Government of India has lot of policy and lot of financial supports through various R&D and developmental centers. Here I would like to highlight the potential of biogas. Without assessing the potential of biogas, I think we cannot project a better scheme or program for a developmental activity. So here you can see India has a lot of bovine population that can produce a feedstock for biogas. Similarly, we have more than 850 millions of poultry which generate lot of liters that can be used as a feedstock for biogas and good bio fertilizer sources. Recently, we have installed more than 50 lakh biogas plants, and we are in second position after China in small scale biogas plants. So recently, it has a survey the sector-wise energy potential in different kind of waste we are generating, right from kitchen waste to industrial agro waste or poultry waste or uh, food processing units. So there is a potential of 5,600 megawatt energy in various sectors, and these are the four priority sector like poultry industry, sugar industry, fruit and vegetable processing industries, and cattle farms. So these are the prominent sector where the bio CNG can be established. So Government of India have the waste to energy program Kachre Se Kanchan. Here we have addressed all the possible byproducts, not only biogas but power generation and other these byproducts. So we have the supports. Recently, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy announced the National Bioenergy Program with a total budget of 850 crores, and under that 600 crore allocated for CBG, waste to energy projects. Here our objective is to produce energy from biogas in the form of biogas, bio CNG, or power from all kind of waste. So these, according to the different product like biogas, CBG, or power generation from raw biogas, or power generation from other bio waste, we have different kind of subsidies like 4 crore per 4.8 ton of CBG. We are means 4 crore subsidy for 1 megawatt equivalent CBG, and this is up to 25% of the total project cost. Without apart from this CFA, the Government of India has a ambitious Satat initiative. Under that, oil marketing companies are bound to purchase their final product so that the bio CNG plant can be easily and healthy run. And there is a amendment in the fertilizer control order to establish the bio manure or fermented organic manure in the country. Similarly, for bio CNG, we have 5,000 number of plant target under the Satat initiative, and recently 38 plants commissioned, and we have target of 62 million metric ton of CBG. So these are big projects which require huge amount of investment. For example, if we produce biogas, then 6 to 7 crore for 12,000 cubic meter biogas generation per day capacity. So for this, we are giving about 25 lakh subsidy, and this program is run by from 1985 in India. The first plant is Timarpur in New Delhi, and after that there is lot of policy changes, and we have added many more things to run the project in viable mode. We have a lot of survey regarding the major feedstocks and potential, where which states have the maximum potential of the CBG. As one estimation that there are 70% of CBG potential in 5 states where the agriculture or lot of waste is available, like Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and Gujarat, and lot of agro residues assessment is there. So here we need to understand that the bio waste or all kind of waste is not only suitable for biogas, but when we estimate the other benefits. In this slide, I try to highlight that for 1 crore subsidy from the government of India over a period of 10 years, when we produce CBG, the total benefits per crore subsidy in 10-year period is about 47 crore. If we produce power from municipal solid waste based biogas plant, then we the total benefits is about 21 crore on 1 crore subsidy. Similarly, for small scale biogas plants, 1 crore subsidy, which turn into 66 crore total benefits. Under these benefits, we estimate the biogas generation, health and sanitation, environmental effects, all we estimated. So these are the benefits. That's why around the globe, many countries, most of the countries are now rethink about the policy formulation for waste dissemination, power generation, and other environmental issues. Another one, recently we added the biomass program, because in North India, the parali burning, the stubble agriculture residues burning issue is happening. So we are using that surplus or agro residues into energy form like pellet and briquettes. So ministry introduced this component recently, and we are giving subsidy of 9 lakh per ton per hour capacity based biogas plant, and utilization of biomass for cogeneration projects also. So this component will definitely reduce the stubble burning. And another third program is the biogas program, where the small scale individual household biogas plants. This program is the oldest program in our country, and we have a strong network and implementation strategy, and we have a recognition for this biogas, with this biogas program, which basically meant for cooking and lighting purpose, and we enhance the program for power generation and other heating and thermal application up to 250 kilowatts. So this is very good program for dairies and poultry and other food processing units. And we are not only giving the subsidy for installing biogas plant, but also we are providing training, seminar, training and awareness. We are giving the subsidy for linking the biogas plant with sanitary toilets, and many more provisions are there. Similarly, for medium-sized biogas plants, we are providing subsidy in the form of capital subsidy, and there is a additional subsidy for hilly state, northeastern state, and registered goshalas. So this biogas program is very useful for not only in rural but urban areas, and we can reduce the burden on the heap of this waste we are generating. So here you can see the indoor air problem, which cause lot of problem. As per the World Health Organization, 1.6 million deaths occurring in India per annum only due to indoor air pollution, which cause lot of problem on lungs and respiratory and eyes and many more things you can see. And this is not a healthy practice. No, it is not a environmental friendly practice to burning the biomass. So it is time to switch on the clean and cooking fuel with use of biogas. As per estimation, only 3 to 4% we are treating the cow dung, and we are collecting only 77% waste, like city waste or kitchen waste from our homes. We are collecting only 77%. Out of 77%, as of now, only 12% waste is treating in either in biogas plant or in another form. So there is a need to implement the R&D ideas through policy support so that the maximum biogas, the maximum waste should be treated scientifically to not only to produce the economic product like gas or CBG, but also to support the sustainable or organic agriculture, or to provide the employment and sustainable agriculture. So therefore, the biogas is the only tools or product which can address maximum number of sustainable development goal, either from sustainable agriculture, clean energy. So here you can see 9 SDG can only be met through the biogas. Therefore, as of now, government has many schemes like Govardhan, Satat, Samarth, biogas program, waste to energy program, biomass program. So due to many highlights inherent in the biogas program or biogas tools, we can address there. Here I want to highlight that why biogas is a farmer friendly. As I talked, that 91% smoke free cooking can be obtained by biogas. We can maintain cleanliness, indoor cleanliness by more than 91% by use of biogas. So these are the basic facts and savings. A 2 biogas plant can save about 16 LPG cylinder in a year. So here we can reduce the burden on imported chemical fertilizer, and there is a lot of benefits. Similarly, here I compare the various kind of organic manure. So the biogas fermented organic manure is a high nutrient content which support the sustainable agriculture. And by this slide, I highlight that investment of a biogas plant, that is 35,000 of a 2 cubic meter biogas plant, which can return the whole the investment in a year or 1.5 years. But there are many issues associated. People are not still using the biogas. Okay, so there are other important scheme which Government of India has brought out, like Govardhan and Satat. So due to time constraint, I will sum up this with. Okay, in bioenergy, there is a lot of changes also, right from collection of waste to segregation. There is a technology issues are there, and there, if we are producing power, then obviously discoms and state regulatories have issues. So, okay, the issues are there with the particular technology, but I think through policy and technical tools or awareness and academic programs, trainings, we hope that we achieve all the target which we have. And as per the today's talk, there is a lot of ample scope of development of renewable energy, particularly for bioenergy, in the budget recently launched by central government, which very clever for biogas promotion. There are 500 new biogas plant announced, and OMCs have been meant to provide 5% blending of CBG, and there is a use of alternative fertilizer, because biogas plant using lot of bio, which is not in practice like a good market. It requires good market. So there is a announcement like PM Pranam, which ensure the use of alternative fertilizer. So here ministry have the online application of all the scheme. So anybody can register their interest and can submit a proposal. So one a great scientist, Dr. Carver, said about, because in biogas you also well aware and you felt that people are not adopting biogas. So here I just want to correlate this behavioral issue with the biogas. Like, society find is difficult to change their routine approach toward life, but for a researcher, for a policymaker, for a environmentalist, our change should come in such a way that the people should not even know that their life have been changed. So we want change through various tools and techniques that should be adopted by majority of people. So with these words, I want to stop here and welcome, or with the end of presentation we have many more discussion or particular questions. So thank you all for listening and pay attention. Hello.
Arvind sir, please unmute. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Meena sir, for such wonderful presentation. And it really helps us a lot to think in a different way and also to highlight some points through which we can also think for some entrepreneurship and startup unit development. Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Over to you, Arvind sir.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, I'm audible to all of you. Okay. Give me one
Yes,
minute.
yes.
Okay. Now, may I request Mr. Martin Sardul, sir, Policy Director, Global Wind Energy Council, India. Sir, hopefully you are there. I'll be, on behalf of the SAIARDs, I welcome you for this particular presentation, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bhandari. I'm also very thankful to Professor Chaudhary and SAIARD for inviting me here. I'm very grateful to Meena sir for setting the tone of this session today. This is a very important year for us. We are hosting the G20 presidency as well as the Clean Energy Ministerial this year. And I also thank SAIARD for taking this very important topic today, about green energy and the budget which the Honorable Finance Minister laid down a few weeks back. So first of all, I think this is the time, this is the decade of action. We are part of the G20, which contributes to almost 80% of the global GDP and 75% of the trade. But what is more important is the fact that almost 70% of our GHG emissions come from the energy sector, primarily from power generation. Hence, it becomes important for us to ensure that the greening of power sector is our priority. And Meena sir has rightly mentioned in his presentation that the Honorable Prime Minister made a commitment to the world and to the country that by 2030, 50% of our energy sources would be coming from renewable energy sources. Now, what is happening on that front? If we see what is our current power generation capacity, it is almost 430 gigawatt of capacity that we have, out of which almost 30% is from the renewables. That's something which we have to ramp up as soon as possible. Why? Because our energy demand is going to sharply increase between 2021 and 2042. Now, why is this happening? Because we are, number one, rapidly urbanizing. We are rapidly we are rapidly adding more industries. The government of India has already set a target of increasing the share of manufacturing into GDP by many times. Almost 15 times of target has been set in place, which means that all of these are going to further accelerate and escalate the demand for power. Now, on one hand, our appetite for power is growing. On the other hand, we also have to ensure that this demand, this appetite is met by green power, which means that we have to add capacities. But the rate at which we have been adding capacities in the past few years is not as exciting as it should be. But then we still have something to celebrate. We are the world's third largest country in terms of our capacities that we have. We rank fourth in global wind energy capacity that we have. We again rank fourth in the solar energy capacity that we have in place. Now, the foremost challenge for the energy sector as of now is how do we ensure that there is grid reliability? How do we ensure that there is grid resilience? I'm not sure how many of us in this room witnessed the blackouts that happened in 2012 in the North India particularly. Are we in a situation that we can afford such kind of blackouts going forward? Certainly not. Then number one priority is that we have to ensure that our grid is reliable. But how do we ensure reliability when the Honorable Prime Minister has committed that 50% of energy sources, our energy sources, would come from renewable energy sources, which themselves are intermittent? Now, this is a big challenge in front of the power sector. On one hand, the solar power is primarily available during the daylight hours, specifically when we have peak sun hours. The wind power might be available during the day hours, but it is also available after the daylight hours. On the other hand, we also have intermittencies at times in the case of hydropower, right? So how do we assimilate and absorb these kind of intermittencies and still ensure that we have a reliable system? So for that, it is important that we introduce round-the-clock systems, which means that round-the-clock of availability of green power is ensured by one and all. And I think that's the foremost challenge in front of us. And as industry, whether it is the solar industry, whether it is the wind industry, whether it is the battery energy storage systems, I think all of us are garnering our efforts towards addressing this primary challenge. Now, we want to add almost 500 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030 into our grid system. And hence, it becomes important to ensure that there is right kind of transmission and power evacuation infrastructure in place. I'm thankful to the Government of India for putting in place a plan for integrating and absorbing 500 gigawatts of renewable energy technology, renewable energy sources into the transmission grid system. There's a budget allocation, the cost estimation of 2 lakh crores, slightly more than 2 lakh crores has been done to be able to put in place this power evacuation and transmission infrastructure, wherein 58 gigawatt has been put in place for wind power, and around 123 gigawatt has been put in place for solar power. So I think this is massive, but at the same time, it also becomes important for us to see that how do we integrate these renewable energy technologies? How do we ensure that new technologies that are coming in place, we are able to provide a space to such technologies? And here I'm trying to draw the attention of this room to offshore wind technology, where there is a high expectation that India will have its first round of tender this year, which means that we will start working on offshore wind. Now, why all of these are important? These are important not just because we are urbanizing and we need we have a manufacturing appetite, but this is also important because we have to ensure that our energy system is a green energy system. We are able to ensure that the consumption of green power and the demand of green power is adequately met with the right kind of power supply at all times, reliable power supply at all times, and it is also affordable. Now, new technologies that would come in place would certainly be expensive as compared to the technologies that have become already mature, for example, onshore wind and solar power technology. So now the challenge is, on one hand, you have mature technologies, on the other hand, you have evolving technologies for which market is still not created. So I think that becomes the number 2 challenge for us. Now, number 3 challenge for us is meeting emerging demand. And here I would like to draw attention of this room to our National Green Hydrogen Mission, which was launched this year. And having the right kind of power supply available to meet this National Green Hydrogen Mission target means that we should have at least 125 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity in place Now, the current installed capacity of renewable energy power stands at around 118 gigawatts, somewhere close to that. So which means all of the effort that we have made so far might be consumed by green hydrogen system alone. And we also want to ensure that there is greening happening across all sectors of the economy and not just in the power sector. So which means that we cannot sustain and we cannot have an appetite which is happy with the kind of capacity additions that are happening at the moment. I'm thankful to the ministry for taking note of the slowdown in the wind sector this year, and they have been very kind to make a major policy amendment, which is likely to lead to an annual onshore wind tender of 8 gigawatt across 8 states in the country, which means that the efforts that we were marshalling on onshore wind certainly requires that we must have the right kind of supply chain available. We should have land available. We should have project financing available at all times to be able to absorb these kind of emerging requirements. Now, the fundamental thing is, and here comes the problem number 4, how do we ensure that there is a resilient supply chain? We are all aware of the kind of logistic challenges that happened in the past few years, how the pandemic affected our global economy and not just the power system. We are also aware that how all of these incidences, including the Russia-Ukraine conflict, all of these have led to an increase in price of commodities, which means that the tariffs that we had decided in the past might not be sustainable, might not be relevant today. So how do we tackle these challenges? How do we ensure that we have right kind of supply chain for these commodities, for these rare metals available at all times, so that we are not just able to add our renewable energy capacities, but also we are able to strengthen our leadership in the manufacturing sector? And I think these are the 4 fundamental questions. And the fifth challenge, the major challenge in front of us, is that on one hand, financing is available to me, but if operational challenges are not addressed, then the cost of financing increases, the risk which my project might face increases, and the kind of expectations of investment agencies, financial institutions is rapidly changing. Recent movement and momentum towards ESG funds, towards sovereign green bonds, and these kind of emerging channels for green financing and newer kinds of instruments have exponentially increased the expectations of our funders and investors. There is more pressure on the developers on ensuring that there is greening of supply chain. So on one hand, you have to ensure that you have the resilient supply chain available to you. On the other hand, you have to also ensure that this supply chain itself is green. So I think with these 5 questions, with these 5 fundamental challenges that we have in front of us, and the kind of solutions that India has laid, I really want to congratulate the ministry and the government of India for undertaking a very prudent approach. Ministry's leadership is really important in order to ensure that we are able to meet our 2030 target. I also express my very sincere thanks to the ministry for being candidly very open to having inputs from the industry, from the policy think tanks, from the academia, from the not-for-profit institutions, and absorbing those solutions and those ideas shared by various set of stakeholders. So I think the way we used to operate in the past in the power sector, that has fundamentally changed. If you see the pace of policy amendments that have been happening, I think that is marvelous. In the past few weeks alone, the ministry and its agencies, whether it is the Honorable CERC or the CEA or the various divisions within the ministry, they have been continuously notifying either draft policy amendments or policy amendments, which is an indicative of the fact that the ministry really wants to provide the right kind of infrastructure, the right kind of platform, the right kind of ecosystem to ensure that the business is able to work hand in hand with the government and its goals. And at the Global Wind Energy Council, along with all our members, we're very happy to work and assist the government of India in its trajectory for 140 gigawatt of wind energy capacity by 2030. We are also very happy to share with this August room that at the COP last year, we launched something called the Global Renewables Alliance, wherein we have brought together all kinds of renewable energy players together in one room under one umbrella, whether it is hydro, geothermal, wind, solar, battery storage, etc. So I think this is a great step that the world has taken. I'm also very proud to mention to our room that we've launched something called the Global Offshore Wind Alliance at the last year's edition of COP, wherein more than 11 countries have already joined, including the US, Netherlands, Japan, Germany, UK, and the founding members are GVEC, IRENA, and the Danish government. So I think things are happening at a very rapid pace. We have to ensure that we are able to match that kind of pace. At the same time, it's also important that the time has come for us to ensure that we don't see renewable energy space as a competition between solar or wind or solar or hydro or whatever it is. But now is the time. This is the decade wherein we have to see that how we are able to work together and ensure that our grid is resilient. We are able to ensure that the government is able to achieve its target within the stipulated budgets, within the stipulated time. And I think that calls for a very sound.
Thank you, Mr. Shardul, for presenting very wonderful points. And also, on behalf of SAIARD, it's our pleasure to connect with you regarding such within a short span of time, you have connected us. So it's really wonderful, and hope in future we can find out some possible opportunities to collaboration. So, over to you for our next speaker, please.
Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Pravad Verma. He is a Managing Director, Run Power Corporations Limited. May I request Mr. Verma to present your view on this particular topic, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rai Chaudhary and SAIARD to invite me in this discussion. And my fellow participant, Mr. Sitaram Meena, he has given the whole lot of government plans and perspective, and he talked about biomass and its benefit and the kind of subsidies available, the kind of employment available. So very good picture he has shown. I mean, which is the government intent and the government plan, in view of renewable energy. Shardul talked about a whole lot of technologies, and since he comes from a wind association, he talked about offshore wind, onshore wind. So a lot of data, a lot of information has been shared. So I'm going to talk slightly different, because I come from core power background. Mainly, the conventional power, because conventional power is going to remain the backbone of the power system in this country. We all know renewable power is important. There are many technologies. Unfortunately, currently, what all we are doing, mostly we look towards outside, like we are dependent for solar panel, though we are going to start manufacturing in India. So government is also giving a lot of support. The budget this time is completely green. Most of the jargons, what I am hearing today from Shardul and Mr. Meena, has been given ample space in the budget, which gives a very green feeling. It is all about green power and decarbonization. But then we need to be very, very, realistic also in our approach. Realistic in the sense, like Shardul talked about the offshore wind. He said the first round of tenders, but as far as I know, twice tenders have been attempted in our country by NIWE, and I have been interacting with those agencies in India, representing OEM, which manufactures offshore wind turbines. Offshore wind turbine is a challenge. It's a high technology, and I have seen tenders failing 2 times, and the mere reason for the same is our approach towards the tendering process. Offshore wind can never match onshore wind prices, and in onshore also we have seen initially the tariff was 18 rupees, and then it slashed to 2 rupees 34 paisa, nearby 2 rupees. And then we have seen the wind sector shaking, in turbulence. Because wind turbine is a technology, a lot of manufacturing happens in India. And we have seen companies going bankrupt, and, a lot of merger, takeovers, acquisitions happened. This clearly shows the story that the price which is available for wind turbine, wind power generation, is not adequate. And then, when earnings are less and expenses are more, you are not comfortable. So we have seen that happening. According to me, offshore wind turbine, offshore wind power tendering has to be based on kind of, Swiss challenge method. Because our conventional Indian style of, testing the turbine, and then the tariff fixation and the pricing and the CERC and all, probably I see offshore wind coming to India is a distant reality. I'm not against it, but the kind of mindset we have, offshore wind requires a special treatment. It's technology worth adopting. And I feel that offshore wind itself is a RTC power around the clock, because when you go inside 100 kilometer in the sea, definitely most of the time, wind is available. So offshore wind is a welcome technology, and we should have it, but then with the special treatment. Then we talked about renewable energy power generation at various places, and then we have also talked about evacuation, and government is trying to put huge transmission line and upgrades of transmission line. And then we also talked about livelihood and employment and all those. So I personally feel the renewable power should be consumed locally, generated locally by using the local fuel which is available. If we talk about biomass, the biomass is available of variety. If you talk about the southern part of India, you have Julie Flora. You talked about Rajasthan, you have mustard cakes. If you talk about Punjab and Haryana and UP, you have rice straw. So if the power is produced locally by using the local fuel, and then in this process, local job opportunities can be generated. You don't need to spend much money on transmission line, and there is no much burden. I know, these many things are all, it's a business driven, and a lot of lobbying and those things keep happening. But then we need to think, we need to really think that the cost factor, and we don't need any more NPAs in this country. We have seen the huge NPA in the coal sector, and they could never perform to the expectation. So we need to be really concerned if we want the real greening this country for a long time, 2030 and beyond. So my suggestion is that the renewable power is a local power, using the local fuel, employing local people, and consuming it locally. to reduce the less burden on the transmission line. So these are the two things which I could catch from the discussion from Mr. Meena and Shardul, what he talked about. Then now I know the government of India has a big plan. I mean, there are some PLI scheme factories which is going to start manufacturing lithium-ion battery, which is going to start solar panels. But in my opinion, China is a huge country. China has been manufacturing for last 50 years. They have control on most of the lithium-ion batteries. We need to think something beyond what China cannot do. Otherwise, competing with China, today I see government has increased the BCD, the basic duty, and we are struggling because there are not much solar panels available. And our plan, what Shardul and Mr. Meena said, that we have to have 500 gigawatt by 2030. So it is good to have numbers, good to have plans, good to think green, look green, act green. But then the reality on ground, where are those manufacturing? We don't manufacture in our country lithium-ion batteries. We don't manufacture solar panels. We have been only assembling, buying from China. So we need to really think about the technology, about the R&D, about the development. We are all continuously talking about so many jargons. We talk about green hydrogen. We talk anything. Today in India, there is nothing which we are not talking. But when we see on the ground, we see mushrooming of many associations. We do a lot of seminar, webinars. But then when we see on the ground, we have not seen a lot of jobs are generated, a lot of employment created. So the reality is we have to have, and then we need to ensure that the right kind of people get involved in this kind of activity. We see a lot of unemployment in the engineering sector. People come out of the engineering colleges and they should be doing all these new ideas, new thoughts. Technology development, buying from somewhere, something from Germany, something from US, something from China. I don't think it will give a big sustainable future to our country for generating renewable energy. We have to have our own technology. We are a country of highly skilled, knowledgeable, talented people. We have to have our own technology. We should be giving technology to the other part of the world. We talk about Make in India. Make in India is Make in India, made in India for the world. It is not that some foreign company comes to India and manufactures in India and they sell to India. So we have to spend a lot of money and time on R&D. Every power generation company, every setup can have their own technology, their own patents, if there is an encouragement. So R&D is not happening. So I see all the numbers are good. 500 gigawatt by 2030, decarbonization by 2070. It is all achievable, but then India should stand on its own. We have to stand on our own feet. We don't depend on other part to become green. So I hope you will all agree. If you have any disagreement, we can discuss at the end. But then we need to be realistic. Like we are talking about green hydrogen. I recently attended an event which was attended by a lot of great people who talks about, I don't want to name those government companies, organizations. Very, very senior people, they talked about green hydrogen. A lot of hydrogen we already have in our country. But the issue is, challenge is the technology. Still, green hydrogen is not something new for us. EV is not new for us. We had EV in our country 100 years back also. Our challenge is the technology. So green hydrogen is good to hear. Immediately some association will mushroom, some activity will start. But then where is the technology? Again, we look towards Europe, we look towards US, we look towards other part of the world. So the idea is we have to have our own R&D. There we have great universities, we have IITs, we have engineering college. Every state has got 200 to 500 number of engineering colleges. They should be motivated, given grant to have their own technology, until unless we are self-dependent. The ESG goals are all very fine, But then we have to be self-dependent. We have to have our own technology, whatever we talk today. And then if we have our own technology, the employment issue is already solved, automatically solved. And when you have your own technology, you can do the further development. So having own technology, own manufacturing, own implementation, and the cost-effective implementation, and something which is realistic. Because one thing is very sure, by 2030 also, government says that 50% power should come from renewable energy. I don't remember the exact figure, how much energy, how much power is produced today by renewable energy. But I know the worldwide, the renewable energy is 1%, 1 to 3%. So we need to be realistic. And when you are realistic, you do the planning. You do the planning for manufacturing, planning for R&D, planning for development, planning for implementation. Let us not come under the global pressure, because globe wants to do business with us. But then we should be doing our planning as per our capability. And India is a capable country, we can do a lot. But then employment, the right kind of people employed for these kind of business developments, technology developments, it is a must. Rest all you both have said, so I have nothing much to talk. In question answer we can discuss, but these are my ideas in a more suggestive mode, rather than whatever is happening, it's happening. Whatever has been put by government, it is a very, very encouraging. Huge money is allocated, but now it is our responsibility how those money is properly utilized. So this is from my side. I am there in the forum till the end. Vishwajit, back to you.
Thank you, sir. You have mentioned a very wonderful point, and we have to plan according to our capabilities, and we have, on the basis of that reality, we should design. And definitely there are ample of opportunities, as I from the very beginning mentioned. Even funding is also sufficient, so we have to channelize it in a proper way. You have raised a very wonderful point. Arvind sir, over to you.
Yes, sir. I should also give a thanks to Varma sir, because you have pointed out a very, very realistic point, sir. Actually, we like your point that's when you are competing with the China, because the lithium battery is not producing by the India, you are taking from the India, and you are most probably you are arranging all those things, and you are marketing all these particular products. You wonderful, and your thought especially to create a local job and using this particular the local product, and to reduce especially with the cost factors, to minimize the cost factor. Also, some of yesterday, some of my faculty member from XLRI, he talked about this particular topic on entrepreneurships, especially in this particular green entrepreneurships cases. You also have touched this particular points. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful discussions and realistic discussions, I should use. And also you have added the opportunities for the Indian, especially for the technology students. Thank you for your wonderful discussion, sir. Now, may I call, yes, may I call Beaver Tendon, sir. Mr. Beaver Tendon, he is the regional head of MCX Metal and the Energy Company. Sir, we are welcoming you, and please use this particular forum for the discussion, sir.
So, good afternoon, everybody, respected dignitaries, the viewers, the others who are hearing. It's a pleasure to be part of this forum. And I believe very valid points made by the previous three speakers with respect to the different opportunities, the different schemes, and the market outlook as such. It's in fact a pleasure to say that, from just being around a single digit when we talk about sustainable energy or green energy or renewable energy, from being at only around a single digit percentage in terms of the overall power that is produced, to come to a double digit within a span of a decade. And at the same time, the kind of opportunity that it presents is humongous. So with the kind of opportunity that we see ahead in the renewable sector, we can talk about a couple of challenges which we have been facing on the green energy perspective or green energy's markets as such. And I would say that the two key elements to developing this sector, in addition to whatever has been discussed so far, because I believe the government in the budget as well has proposed a number of reforms, a number of support, number of subsidies when it comes to the renewable energies and green energy production. So when we talk about the different key elements to developing these markets, I believe that it consists, the first, in addition to whatever has been discussed, the first, of course, if I talk about two, the first is going to be knowledge and awareness, right? And the second is going to be market reach and pricing. So when we talk about knowledge and awareness, it is important, and it was discussed by some previous speakers as well, that there should be a good amount of generation of awareness and knowledge among different stakeholders on the opportunity that this renewable energy presents, whether it is wind energy, whether it is solar power, or any other form of renewable energies. And at the same time, also about the kind of the different ways in which you can enter this market. So that comes to the different opportunities if you are able to educate the market stakeholders and participants when it comes to the opportunity, the shortcomings, the threats, the strengths, and the ways in which they can really take care of the challenges. I think it is going to be a very, very important point to develop these markets. The second being from the exchanges or from the market intermediaries, or I would say the market infrastructure institution for almost a couple of decades. A very, very important factor when it comes to the energy market as such is the fact that when it comes to delivering, or when it comes to actually after production has happened, when it comes to finding the right kind of pricing and reaching the right kind of buyers, it is important for any of these users that they reach the right kind of buyers, and at the same time also are able to get the right kind of pricing, which means talking about managing the risk of fluctuating prices as such. So in such a scenario, I would strongly suggest and recommend the use of the derivatives platforms which are available on the exchanges, including the Indian Energy Exchange, where the amount of trading that happens in terms of energy is huge. Now, there are a couple of things which are addressed. So there are a couple of gaps which are there. The first, of course, being reaching out to the right kind of buyers, which is addressed because you're able to, the energy is not something which you can really carry on, storing for a year and a half. And therefore, reaching out to the right kind of buyers in the right time, that is addressed. You're able to offload, including, today, if you talk about the Indian Energy Exchange as such, almost all the discoms, the power generators, etc., are able to sell off the power that is generated, the excess power that they have, and at times, if they get the right kind of pricing, they're able to sell off, the any amount of power which is available there. Now, in addition to that, the various challenges that are addressed by when we talk about marketability or pricing or receiving the right kind of price when it comes to the power which is generated, I believe the first is, of course, there are various risks which are taken care of. One is the credit risk. The reason being that you are able to take care of the credit risk because on the exchange there's a counterparty guarantee which is provided by the exchange as such. The second is pricing. So because it is live, the markets are live, you're able to get a clear, transparent, and electronically you're able to sell the prices. You get a clear, transparent view of the markets, overall markets as such. Because in case of the energy markets or which are available on the exchange, you get an opportunity to trade in, sell or buy in the day ahead markets, right? Or 10-year ahead markets, term ahead markets. So this presents an opportunity to give you an understanding of the market trends when it comes to pricing. And secondly, to be able to manage the risk which is there when it comes to, when we are talking about the pricing. So when we talk about price risk as such, we are talking about the risk of fluctuating prices. So there are times during the overall year or overall month, based on seasons, based on demand. There are so many things. When you talk about the pricing, when you talk about the price of any particular commodity as such, be it power, be it metals, be it crude oil, it all depends to largely based on two macroeconomic factors, which is demand and supply. Now, this demand and supply again is dependent on a number of factors such as seasonal factors, such as the industry demand, and therefore it is important that they are able to hedge themselves or manage their price risk when it comes to the pricing of the power, pricing of the energy units. And the power derivatives in the day-ahead market or the 10-year ahead term ahead market, which is present on exchanges such as the Indian Energy Exchange, can enable each of these power producers to be able to take care of the challenges by managing the risk and selling their power at the right time, fixing the price of the power which has been produced by them at the right time, and at the same time to be able to maintain a good bottom line by ensuring that they don't lose out when it comes to cash flows, when it comes to profits because of lower prices due to the seasonal factors or lower demand as such. So I believe that these two factors, the first being, of course, the uh, market awareness and knowledge, and the second being the ability to reach out to the right kind of uh, market participants, including the intermediaries, buyers, and of course, ensuring that your price risk is managed properly will be the key to developing these markets going forward. So because I was supposed to speak on the perspective of the markets as such, I would like to present these few points which I have presented so far. And I really thank SAIARD and all of the other stakeholders as well as the other participants here who have presented their views and are here to attend on a very, very important subject, which is the overall growth of the green energy markets. Thank you so much. So, Professor Bishwarup, it is back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for pointed out some important points. And definitely, our country is now growing, and also the thinking has also changed. On that basis, we are looking forward to develop our own manpower. We have to develop our own resources. So, in that way, I think definitely we will achieve our sustainable development goals, which we even under the vision of India 27. So, I think it will definitely work on. Now, over to you, Arvind sir, please.
Okay. Participants, now there will be a quick round for the question and answer sessions. Participants, if you are having any questions or from the speaker also, if they want to ask some of the questions to answer speaker is, we can go for minimum 5 to 7 minutes if there is any questions. Any participants, if you have any questions, you can ask to the direct. Okay. I'll be requesting to ask this particular question.
Mr. Meena, can I ask a question since you represent Government of India, MNRE, right? I want to request Government of India and MNRE and MOP and SECI that all the contracts which are awarded in renewable space. Why? Because, Indian government has given licenses to many engineering colleges, right? So it is our duty to employ those engineers who are coming out of the colleges. And I want to have seen renewable energy since the easiest subject, I mean, everybody knows that battery has negative and positive. Finish. Everybody knows at panel, you bring a panel, 2 wire comes out of it, take it to inverter and just put it in a net metering and power is supplied. Because we have not done any R&D, we have not done any design, we have not done any manufacturing. So what I have seen, all the shopkeepers, they have become EPC contractors. And instead of a technology, it has become a commodity. And understanding even about a thimble size and the wire size, I found it is very rare. So why government is not deciding? I'm not saying why. I'm nobody to say why. My request is, if the government says that yes, all such schemes are available to engineering people, maybe it's a diploma holder, ITI graduates, MTech, PhDs, and they make a society at various places and they run those, power generation and distribute the power and run their society. In this process, they are employed also. They serve the nation also. They contribute significantly to decarbonization also. Otherwise, I am seeing a lot of irrelevant people are enjoying these subsidies and all those grants and money and funding, and nothing is going to the right kind of people. So I in fact requested your power secretary also. So if you can convey this feeling of mine, and if anybody is open for discussion, I can come and present how it is going to be useful. This is my request to you.
Sir, unmute yourself.
Sir, you rightly point out the issue, and ministry is doing a lot of efforts in this direction, that the like Surya Mitra, Vayu Mitra, we are cater the trained manpower for local maintenance through local problem, local solutions. So this is doing a lot of efforts. We are training for Surya Mitra for maintaining the systems and providing solutions. And the states implementing agencies are also developing the technical trained manpowers. So I think in due course of time, a lot of trained manpower will be available for maintaining the all kind of renewable energy sources, solutions or technologies.
So my request was the graduates or IITs or ITI people who have already taken the training of 4 years, they have the better approach and better attitude to maintain these, so-called new technologies and new equipments. So if they are deployed, but rather than developing a skill under a non-technical person, because non-technical person, whatever you may train, he will know how to connect negative and positive. He can do the shouldering, but he will not know the chemistry of the battery.
Exactly,
so anyway, whatever has not been done, if you feel, my only concern for the engineering fraternity, if they
sir,
are
you rightly point out, sir, as ministry is doing the HRD cell is there. So they are preparing the various kind of modules and short trainings to easy to operate the systems. And actually nowadays we are increasing the installation capacity only. In due course of time, there is a maintenance and so many problems will occur. So providing solution for such kind of problems, we are also thinking for trained manpower through various college and local institutions.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the audience, please? Or any participants?
Narasimhacharya here. If you allow me, I would like to the few views was rightly pointed out by the past speakers on towards the skill set and various development programs. Actually, there is a big gap between the industry and the academicians, and mostly when the people come out from the colleges, there is a huge gap in terms of technology and in terms of understanding the basic things. So the fundamentally there is a big gap. Even trying to train these people and getting accustomed with the technology is a very big risk, as well as we see a lot of gap. We do conduct a lot of trainings. We have been developing skill development centers with our solar related activities and wind related activities. But right now, rightly pointed out, when we are talking about the new technologies like hydrogen and etc., so these are very, very sensitive topics, and we don't find the right set of skilled people in India. So today, even if we talk about around 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen and all those things, the right kind of people coming into this background, because we have a process engineers who are well versed with the chemical engineering concepts, but now when it talks from green to particularly from the renewable energy towards the green hydrogen, we need some bridge courses. We need the people to be understanding the chemistry as well as the electrical concepts. These bridge courses has to be enhanced. There are few bridge courses, but these are only accessible in the premier institutions. And I don't see most of the guys who are access to these institutions and who do these premier courses are not going to stay in India. They are definitely moving out of India, and that has been the biggest challenges. There are very few people who stay back and work with the industry. So this has been one of the major challenges, sir. So I would request at the smaller or at the university levels, the bridge courses for working with the cross-functional engineering departments. This has to be taken up as a course, and right kind of methodologies need to be employed from time to time, sir. Maybe this has to be driven by the concerned educational ministry side, but this has to be implemented as soon as possible so that we have a good set of engineers coming into the industry. And coming back to the research and development, sir, it has always been neglected because only the profit making companies could afford doing some kind of research and development, because research and development is considered as a dead investment. And the outcome of this research and development, particularly in India, the standardization issues are there. We don't have proper standards. We adopt from the global standards, and these standards, once we adopt, these cannot, they need to be modified from the time to time with respect to the Indian conditions. And by the time the standardization, even for the green hydrogen, I'll be very specific. We have only till 200 bar. If we wanted to push it to for liquefaction or higher pressures, or even getting an electric vehicles which are running around 350 bar to 700 bar, these are all going to be project specific, sir. So this becomes very difficult for even somebody who plans to do research and development. And most of these licenses are given on the project to project, case to case basis. So if that is happening, then we cannot enhance the rapid growth of all this green hydrogen mission and all those stuff. So we are contributing from our end to expedite the things, but I think there should be much more people getting involved and trying to frame the right kind of standards and right kind of institutions getting in, and with the time bound programs to set the deadlines and get these standards out, sir. India should have its own standards. That's the first thing, and the standards should be placed. Then all the research and development activities will be through those standards and those guidelines and the frameworks. So that's been one of the gaps, sir. Thank you, sir. That's it.
Yes. I think, sir, we all the panelists, all the people whosoever is there, will be agree with you that there is definitely there is a requirement of incubation center in the different universities, because there is too much of gap from the academic side and from the industry also. So even the Verma sir was also talking about that if the engineers, if those students are getting the opportunities for this particular topic, maybe the India can be much ahead in the competitions compared to the China or others country. Even Tendon sir also discussed this particular things. He talked about the knowledge and the awareness, right? So especially for the awareness, if there is awareness, its possibilities are there if we develop the incubation center in some of the good institutions, like somebody was talking about the IITs, or even the regional engineering college, or the NITs, or even some of the state or maybe the private universities. If you're able to do that, most probably that could be the one of the I don't know whether the many universities, they having an incubation center on this particular topics, okay, on green energy. We totally agree with your view. We respect your view, sir. Okay, whatever you want. Now, any other questions? Is there any other questions from the audience? Is there any other questions from the audience, please?
Somebody was talking about the offshore wind energy. I'm not sure whether that gentleman is here or no. He said, I think he comes from some wind energy association. So when can we see? I mean, when can we see the first offshore wind farm running in India? And what is the plan? I mean, in the normal way of bidding process, the way we have seen happening in solar, because solar bidding process and the tariff was decided by China, not by us. And we have been buying from them, and we are just quoting here in India, playing in 1 or 2 paisa and then winning and losing based on the investors' money. So that is a different ball game altogether. But when you talk about wind energy is a technology. It's a real technology with the rotating parts, rotating part and the static is a hell lot of difference. So when can we see and how the policy and the bidding process and evaluation process should be different, so that India can have it offshore wind as early as possible. So if anybody can respond.
Sir, I am not much aware about the wind energy. My specification only bioenergy related.
No, I can understand. You presented bioenergy very, very well.
Yeah.
You made the presentation extremely good, and I would request you share with us. There is a lot which can be, we can read, and that is very close to the common man of this country. We must know what are the benefits, what are the subsidies. So kindly share that. That's a good encyclopedia. That's a good ready reckoner. You made your presentation very, very well. But there was a gentleman from some wind energy company. Is he there or he is gone?
I think he has to leave anyway.
Yeah, people are very busy actually. These people are very busy.
So if anybody can share their views on behalf of Prabhat sir's question, so
sir, maybe I will try to answer it with my limited knowledge on this,
please.
Because we also build wind plants, but
I
not
would
offshore.
Narasimha, please introduce yourself first.
Yes, sir. Myself is Narasimha Mumedi. I am working with the Indian INR renewables in the emerging technologies. So I look into the green hydrogen, batteries, fuel cells, flow batteries, and particularly emerging new technologies. So IANA also works with both wind, solar, and we are also trying to do some battery related projects. Basically, we are backed up by NIIF and BII. Both are sovereign funds from the respective government of India and government of UK. And we have one more entity, GGF, Green Growth Equity. It is also a sovereign fund from both the governments. So we are one of the fastest and the largest developing entities in terms of solar.
Which company you work for, Narasimha?
IANA Renewables, sir.
Where is this?
We are headquartered in Bangalore. The Mr. Shiv Nimbagi leads our efforts. And he is a FICCI chair.
Okay. You share your mobile number in the chat and please go ahead.
Yes, sir. And related to the offshore wind, see, presently, one of the biggest challenges is adaptation of the tariff. It is not winning about the project. It is after commissioning, whatever the price and the sustainability of the project depends on the adaptation of the tariff by the DISCOMs. And there is a huge difference between what we see versus what is coming out at the DISCOM level, and the infrastructure related to the transmission and distribution of the energy, whether it is from solar source or wind source or offshore wind. These are the challenges. We need to have a high level connectivity at various parts of India at various levels. So in terms of CTU and STU networks, there is a huge gap. There are a huge amount of losses while we are transmitting this energy, that we need to account on this. And particularly towards the offshore wind, the biggest challenge would be transmission, putting the transmission line from the sea towards the ground, and the amount of charges and the reliability associated with it, because there will be a huge amount of corrosion. So the components which needs to get into the sea side need to be much more reliable, and there needs to be a lot of R&D that needs to be done. And the wind patterns, see, we are not in the European zone. We are particularly on the southeast, where our wind patterns are slightly, almost very significantly lower than that of Europe. So that will be one of the key challenges, and there will be a huge risk in terms of expediting this project. So there has been various studies conducted from the Wind Research Institute. So one of the thing is, like, we have the height of the windmills which are going to help us out, and apart from that, the transmission equipment that need to be built on the shores, that will be going to be a very critical aspect, because this has to go through all types of corrosion and wind related aspects. So
Narasimha, my suggestion is, I mean, why are we thinking all this? Why not we? Because the company, I don't want to name the companies. There are
availability of land for these projects, and when we start building this across the offshore kind of thing, then at least I have a clear mapping of the land requirements, and I'm not going to intervene on any of the further development, future development. I'm not going to hinder any of the future developments that happens on the land.
You mean we are not going ahead with the offshore wind because we don't have land?
The land availability, and apart from that, the right kind of setup, the wind pattern, sir. It is mostly on the wind pattern. Say we have Aravalli Hills, we have Himalaya.
You mean India is not suitable for offshore wind then?
We have only 2 states right now which are suitable for it, sir. One is Gujarat, and other one is the coast of Karnataka.
Tamil Nadu, not Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, Tamil Nadu we have come across, sir. Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Gujarat.
Yeah, so already, if you recall, 2 tender already happened twice, right?
Yes,
in
sir.
last 5 years.
But the problem here, what we see is, we don't have the right kind of transmission network. Now they are getting built up. Whether it is in Gujarat or Tamil Nadu or in Karnataka, right now they are doing it. So I can generate the wind energy, but how do I get it to the inland? I need the right kind of transmission network.
But my suggestion is, like, I mean, I know Niue, they were testing the turbine, they were testing so many other things. If we could not manufacture a turbine so far, what is our right to test it? Why not give the contract on Swiss challenge basis? There are large companies. Let them come to India, let them do all the study, let them install it, and let them supply power to us at 25 rupees per kilowatt hour, if we really encourage.
Sir, again, the thing is, we are moving away from the Atmanirbhar Bharat and indigenization. If that needs to happen, then there is a program called One Sun, One Country kind of scenario. So all the Middle East, from Philippines to Morocco, they wanted to build all these huge power plants and cable it undersea, and respective countries to use it. But again, the challenges are demographic. After the post-COVID scenario, I think indigenously and self-sufficiently, we need to develop these projects within. So we are more depending on the technologies that are available in India. I can see one big challenges, which even in the batteries we have seen, is the guys are able to come and sell the batteries, but they won't provide any service. And all these projects are going to run for 25 years, and this is the money paid by us in terms of taxes and other things. So we cannot put large chunk of money into a foreign hand and say that they will provide the service, and we get into arbitration running across the world to solve these cases. So this is going to be a never-ending issue. We are little late, but we are right now in the right direction, and the right set of rules are getting framed. We wanted to be indigenously doing all the activities. So it might be little difficult, but we are on the right track, sir. We are on the exactly right track right now, I could say.
Suppose
Because
your company,
lot of wind turbines are also
one
getting.
minute. Narasimha, 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
I know. I think you are a good marketing and sales guy.
I'm a scientist, sir. For your knowledge.
No. You are right. My question is: suppose your company is given a contract to set up a wind farm offshore. At what price you can supply the power and taking care everything yourself?
Sir, we are I will be tight-lipped on this because these are very confidential things. But it is slightly higher than that what we can have it onshore.
10, 20,
it will be higher.
How many percent?
35 to 40% it will go high, sir.
So at 4 rupees we can get the offshore wind power, right?
If I have the right kind of connectivity network at the CTU levels.
That you do yourself. It is a built on operate.
Sir, again, this is not in my hand. It is again with the concerned power ministry and other people for the transmission network building. So we don't get into that huge scale transmission building. We only use it.
All right.
And you know that the kind of GNB issues and all those things, how these projects got delayed.
I'm talking about solution. I'm not talking about issues. That everybody is talking. I'm talking about what solution. When can we have the first offshore wind in this country? Netherlands, UK, we always talk about the whole world. They have offshore wind for last 30 years, 40 years back.
Sir, they are high wind zones.
And still we are talking about testing their turbine, bringing to India. Nive will do that. For what?
No. See, please understand, it is not about building a wind plant. If I don't have the right kind of wind characteristics, even putting a plant will not make any sense.
Yeah, so you declare that India is not suitable to have a wind turbine.
We are doing the studies, sir. We are doing the studies. I don't declare that one. We are doing the studies, and there has been a El Nino effect. So there are wind patterns.
At least, if you declare if you declare that, at least we get rid of one long laundry list of renewable, what is going on in this country today. The laundry list of this country on renewable is huge. And everybody remembers on their fingertip, right from our power minister to everybody. I mean, hydrogen, methanol, such a long list. So whatever is not feasible, Meenaji, don't take me otherwise. I mean, this is too much. I mean, whatever is not feasible, at least let us remove it, right?
Actually, let us understand one thing. If you look into the overall scenario of the, particularly towards the health stats and other things, and recently there was a stats also published. The only countries which are looking into the green is India, and the promising countries are India. And
because we all understand green very well.
Sir, we understand the green, and I think we are desperately in need because we are having a depleting coal reserves. We cannot depend on external countries.
Coal is there for 200 years.
Sir, coal is there for 200 years, but again, the carbon related footprint which we are going to enhance and the type of power. See, I don't think from the coal power plants with Indian coal, what will be the rates, sir? You are the best guy to tell that one.
Narasimha, in manufacturing a solar panel, right from sand ingot to wafer to final finished product, you know how much power it generates.
A lot of power is needed, sir.
Right. And my question is very simple. I mean, neither we are supporting or not. We are talking about what is the practical approach. You know, as Mr. Rai Chaudhary also said, and somebody else, today, our million unit generation power contribution is in one single digit. And by 2030, we are talking about 50%. 50% is not the capacity.
Sir, to be, this is my self-opinion. In order to have,
we are all giving our self-opinion only.
Yeah,
here there is no
because I represent a very big group.
So we all are giving self-opinion.
I wanted to make it very clearly. So, in order to have this transition, we need to build the nuclear power plants. There is no doubt about it,
Please
because
please
this has to be
do
a
not add another
this
angle.
has to be a transition. We need to be, because any developed country is marked by the power consumption, and unless until we have the cheap power availability for the industry, we are not going to win this race. We have to make the power availability, firm power availability at very cheap cost to the industry and the manufacturing units in India. This can only be done by having a stopgap arrangement of allowing the nuclear power plants to be built and safeguarded for maybe 1 to 3 decades, and then close off all these things and get self-sustained in the renewable energy space. Once your manufacturing is up in terms of renewables, then we need to close this activity of nuclear. So that is what I could see India as a self-sustained. Or if we are talking about wind solar, it will be another 200 to 300 years. Still, we are debating on the same platform.
On many other things, like if you talk about renewable, nuclear, the developed countries are discarding it because it's a risky.
No,
Nuclear
I agree.
is a global politics. It's a risk.
I agree with it, but the kind of power we need it for enhancing the manufacturing unit. See, we need cheap power, sir. If we have cheap power, we can overcome China and any of the countries. We can become a manufacturing hub. We need to get the power at very cheap cost.
How much is the power cost in China?
Sir, I have no comparison from China to India. We cannot compare that way.
You share your number. We will separately discuss. I think Mr. Vishwajit Rai Chaudhary is getting impatient.
I'm sorry.
Close this discussion. Share this.
No. I'm not being in an impatient mode, but I'm just enjoying today's session.
But you are getting a lot of ideas for your next webinar, probably.
We are not only doing webinar, we are actually focusing for the livelihood support and development sector, as Meena has known me very well regarding this, because our institution, as I mentioned, we are working with the 5 Government of India's organization, as well as as you mentioned regarding the livelihood development, you mentioned about the engineering colleges adoption and like that. So we are actually doing the same thing. And as you know that I'm a professor, being a professor since 15 years in Calcutta University. I know the academia, what is the fallacies in academic sector, because most of the cases the UGC told about the academy industry collaboration. But I am saying not only academy industry collaboration, but academy, industry and government and stakeholders collaboration. These 4 square can definitely help our society. And I'm doing the same thing through we are doing the same thing through our institution. I'm connecting the industries, I'm connecting the government organizations in case of the course module development, in case of our board of studies member, and after that in case of the internship opportunities, live project. And then our students got the job opportunities even before completion of course 3 or 4 months before. So we can set up, I just got the idea whenever you discussed, Meena sir has pointed out, and also before sir other mention. So I thought, why not there will be the same kind of initiations we can do as we are doing in case of GIS remote sensing platform in the energy sector as well. Because through this discussion, I really find out some points of options, points of opportunities through which we can support our upcoming generations in this energy sector as well. And we can incorporate some other points, because through our SAIARD social platform, we are doing several social development, livelihood development activities. And very soon we are going to adopt an island, that is the Ganga Sagar Island. You know, it's a prime Ganga Sagar Mela is happening. We are going to adopt this island for their rural development perspective, for their empowerment development perspective, education development perspective. And as I mentioned always, that there is a lots of resource in our country, but we have lots of manpower as well. But they are, due to the lack of proper skill-based training, proper capacity building model. So we are actually don't able to utilize this kind of manpower and that kind of resources. So if we connect these 2 factors, that is the mobilization of resources through the skill-based manpower, automatically it will be helpful our country's development. Automatically it will help us to reach ultimately at least some points of sustainable development goals. And in that aspect, in future, we can also focus in coming days regarding the energy sector as well. So that is there. I really impressed between the discussion between Narasimha sir and you. I really enjoy, and I find out some points on future activities in well. Definitely.
You are doing a good. Actually, I'll tell you. I lived in Chennai for 3 years, and whenever I used Ola and Uber, I found the taxi driver was an engineering graduate. You believe me, it was a pain seeing the green energy. What is going on in this country? I really feel, if you ask me, if you are hungry, even black energy is okay. But if the stomach is full, so this country is. I mean, I'm not a political person, but it gives me a pain. And the illiterates are taking the fruit. People have no knowledge about any technology, any background. They are just enjoying these subsidies and funds and all those. Yes. Hydrogen, I see the same thing. I see veterans are enjoying seminar, webinar. They have retired many years back. Somehow they managed to come to some hydrogen group, and believe me, it pains. Why not?
Sir, really?
Why not person
totally,
like?
I agree with you, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it gives pain.
I'm just sharing one experience to you. The same pain is also there in my mind and soul as well, and that's why after my college hours and all that, I'm devoting myself for this kind of initiation. And you will be happy to know that within this 3.5 year, we are going to we achieve 4 years in coming 15th of February. And already we have provided job opportunities to more than 45-50 students through this.
I mean, government can give a lot actually if there is a planning. If there is a proper policy.
There is a lack of planning, lack of resource management.
I have seen, I was attending one MNRE. I mean, I don't want to say anything. Thimble sizing and wire sizing was a long discussion whole day.
Yeah.
These people, I come from the coal-fired power plant background. You can see the complexity in engineering. You know, I mean, it's a huge. If you see your Bandel power plant and Kolaghat and all, they're all marvel of the engineering. Right?
Agreed.
Today, we are just bringing some containers of lithium ion and solar panels, and we are just bidding 2 rupees, 30 paisa, 32 paisa, 31 paisa on the investors' money. Who is the beneficiary? Nobody. And the jobs are very minimum. You know who gets the job? Person who throws water on the panels. He gets the job.
And
there's no engineering happening.
So that's why the bioenergy is lagging behind.
Definitely. Bioenergy is a gramodyog. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it has to be enhanced at every level. See, even in what I see is like many of the solar power plants, they have huge amount of bioresource which can be converted into energy. Particularly the celluloic substances, because they keep cutting the grass across these plants. Every season they are cutting the grass and they are burning it. And it pains me a lot. When they burn, I say we are carbon neutral. We cannot burn it. And either we need to dump it, we need to take it. But celluloic substances can be converted to energy with proper chemical processes. A pure grade of ethanol can be made by this from the celluloic starch. So these kind of research things has to be encouraged, and particularly now one pain points also for me. I wanted to put it to the forum. Ammonia is one of the dangerous gases, and it got lot of environmental impact. And when we burn ammonia, there are nitrous oxides which are much more dangerous than the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. I don't know. We are shifting all our economy towards the ammonia, and it can be a catastrophic if we have not properly excised the option of taking care of this ammonia going into the right kind of utility. Because ammonia got wide variety of uses, both good and bad, and ammonia has to be very well regulated unless until it is going to fertilizers. Rest all the places it has to be regulated. Ammonia leakages even in the plants can be catastrophic. It got very significant impacts, and I hope we are emphasizing hydrogen to ammonia and ammonia globally. And what happens is from carbon dioxide, we are shifting it to the nitrous oxides. Maybe with carbon dioxide, I cannot see carbonic acids, but definitely with nitrous oxides, I will see nitric acids, which will be acid rains.
Acid rain.
These things has to be controlled, and people have to really understand the math behind these things. So it is very easy to formulate and supply ammonia, but we need to also look into this environmental impacts, sir. So I think
yeah. Yes, Narasimhaji, please. Sorry.
These things, these ammonia related activities also need to be very properly regulated, because I feel I was very much against of getting ammonia into the Indian economy without having a regulator placed. We need to have a regulator similar like ethanol, methanol, where we have an excise department which regulates all these activities. Similarly, for ammonia, we need to have a proper regulator before we start producing ammonia at large scales for non-industrial or non-B2B utilities. So that's only a small request from my end.
Okay, I think I should take this particular opportunity. And besides, sir, I was thinking during this particular discussion, most probably we have selected the right topic, and I think 2 hours is not enough for all of us. I think we require 6 hours or 8 hours discussions on this particular topic, and because the type of questions it is coming, the type of discussions it is coming, it is good for all of us to, especially for the people who don't having too much of information on this particular sectors. So there is too many of the experts like the professor, even the nurse who is working on this particular area. They are giving the information most probably which is not available in the journal, in the books. Okay, so at the end of this particular webinar, may I request Professor Roy Chaudhary to give the vote of thanks to all the panelists, please, sir.
Thank you, Professor Bhandari, and thanks. There is no words to give thanks to the honorable distinguished speakers today. And it's really brainstorming session for today. I mean, the discussion, I'm still now interested to continue this discussion, but the time permits, definitely. And in that way, hopefully.
Mr. Roy Chaudhary, what I said, you know, I think you are located in eastern part of India, right?
Yeah.
So you please, because you know, I mean, I'm not sure how I am connected with you and what motivated you to get in touch with me. But believe me, this employment issue with the renewable energy was always haunting me. That why it is going to be undeserving people. Why the whole renewable energy business and opportunity is going to the business people. You know, people who are nowhere related. They don't understand engineering. They don't understand anything. So if you spread your mission, I will support wherever you want. Southern part of India is badly affected. When you see a graduate engineer sitting beside you or behind, I mean, you are sitting behind him, and he says that I'm a graduate engineer, and it really pains. What is happening in this country?
Thank you, sir. Even I will definitely connect with you, all of you, because very soon I am looking forward to connect this field, and I'll request to all of you to connect with them as an advisory board and how we can proceed in that way. And secondly, I will also request to Meena sir, because Meena sir is keenly interested to focus in eastern parts of India, as we had discussed in last time in Delhi, particularly eastern and northeastern belts. And definitely, if Meena sir will also from the government sector can support us, and not only that, can develop a board for regarding the energy entrepreneurship cell under his ministry.
My suggestion would be today we had a discussion.
Yeah,
you can always make a proceeding and send it to our dearest and respected Mr. R.K. Singh, the Minister of Power. You just send it to him.
Definitely we can
and
do.
Mark copy to Mr. Meena or whoever he says. Idea is many things they may not be coming to their mind. You know what is happening today. People like me go to them and talk about great ideas, and I confuse them. And when I confuse them in the morning, the whole day they will only talk about it because they don't have anything from their own. If I go and talk ethanol, the whole day ethanol will go.
Yes.
And when I talk about methanol, whole day methanol will go. Someday I will go and tell, sir, don't worry, even solar panel produces while it is raining. Believe me, the whole day they will talk about it.
This is happened with the Jetropa in year 2010 or 9 or 2008-9, that India has lot of target for biodiesel.
Bilkul theek hai,
Single
absolutely.
drop.
Yes,
Single-
absolutely.
Single
You are
drop
right.
not available for blending, and announce the target of 20%.
So Meena sir, I think that is the very right point Prabhat sir has also mentioned. And as we also did after every webinar, there is a short proceedings and the
Yeah.
concept final report
Sir,
we have prepared and send it to the
continuously
minister.
writing is very essential. Continuously writing, and
Yes.
that will make successful in policy planning and goal,
True.
medium term goal, long term goal. That is
And
very
when you
essential.
come to Delhi, we can go together to Shram Shakti Bhavan. We don't need any pass or anything.
Sir, you can send the suggestion, and we should.
Yeah, because you know what is happening. Almost 8 years have passed of greening of this country. No green is visible, right? So
Right.
there's a limit, you know. I mean, 8 years, I have seen so much webinar seminars, and especially the veteran of retired government people, all retired guys are talking anything. So many reports, so many glassy reports, Rocky Mountain, this mountain, that mountain. What is coming on ground and what the countrymen are getting, that is more important, right? The right kind of people.
Similarly, happen in research, sir. We are doing all outdated research that is not a marketable.
You have the courage to say this. This is the truth. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that is why I think Sitaram sir, we should develop energy entrepreneurship cell within your ministry, and I think in that case we are as a think tank organization, and we have connected already now. Prabhat sir is also there, Vibhorji is also, and some other like-minded people. Not the team should be so much big because
this is the, you know, as Mr. Sitaram said just now, he may not say all these because there are, but you know, it's a matter of somebody starting it.
Yeah.
Because everybody understands what is right and wrong. When he listens hydrogen seminar by a old person from some advisor or some government who retired 20 years back, he also feels pain. That boss, you were scientist for something else. Today you are talking anything. So
Sir,
it is not that he is happy. But
I
only
correlate
thing is,
your experience with that. In my area, like biogas, I never awarded a project to like IIT, like big institute. No, like there is name is
what
big.
is big, boss? No, here. What is big? I don't understand.
No,
What is
means,
big?
sir, I just awarded the project who have the latest idea, and that can be transformed into the results, not a report. Sir, really, sir. And all, because they are all are old people, they are just outdated research. I like the latest idea which can turn into the market. That can.
Sir, I think that I am agree with you even and in that way, because as an R&D unit, we can also develop that kind of model to support the young entrepreneurs, young startup, because they are doing so much very good work. Not I am as an academician, I am saying that not all the IIT peoples are too much good, but they are due to the stamp. They are enjoying that kind of luxury, and the government is also focused that
they don't stay in this country.
Yes.
And getting admission in IIT, Mr. Meena, don't take me otherwise. Mr. Meena can get admission at 55%. I cannot get at 95%. So that is the truth of IIT admission.
Right.
So वो कहाँ से हो गया? So our thinking about IIT and IIM, it is very discouraging actually.
Right.
It is very discouraging. I see, I mean, recently I saw our people have also changed the mindset. They were writing introduction of a minister, and he was writing his MTech from IIT. So I said, has he done BTech also or no? Our people are also great. He is not saying that this guy has done BTech from this college, because that BTech is not IIT. So he is starting from MTech. MTech anybody can do from IIT. BTech, it requires real courage.
Yes. Yes.
Depending on our reservation and all those. So our own problem today is totally confused us. So Mr. Rai Chaudhary, I think you have to take the lead, and I can assure you, you deserve one of the best international awards for this activity if you can continue. It's a great cause.
I'm not doing these activities for any.
Somebody will recognize your work. I'm not saying that, because this issue is to be really taken up. Otherwise, we will be totally ruined.
Actually, the main point which I want to focus that my research area, I am a geographer, and I mainly work on my urban geography sectors. But now, continuously, year after year, after doing this kind of initiative, now I am become one kind of livelihood. I'm really in field on research in how livelihood can be developed from the whatever we have, from the whatever the resources we have through the resource mobilization. And that's why during this discussion I thought that there should be a very good model in case of energy entrepreneurship, because it's a lot in either in case of wind energy or bioenergy. And because our India is rural India, basically rural based India, and whatever the problems we generate in case of environmental sector, so we definitely convert it in bioenergy case, as Meena sir also mentioned. And if we train the people, automatically they will be interested to do the same. And last in a last round table, we had discussed on. I just would like to take 1 to 2 minutes. In the last webinar, we have taken a discussion that is the how to rethink the urban financing model, because in G20 event there is the same point, same discussion. There is the how urban can get financing system, municipality can get fund. So I am discussing 10 points that urban resources, if we utilize the urban resources which we have, we build the capacity in them. So automatically the resource, most of the cases we are focusing on the direct funding when ADB or Asian Development Bank or World Bank will support or central government will support. Why not we generate our own resource? And that is through I am giving an example, that is the solid waste management problem. There is the solid waste is a very important issue in case of environmental sector. But if we collect the solid waste and convert it into the biofertilizer and convert them into the organic farming system, each and every the environmental problem will be solved, people will be aware, and also they will get benefit from the solid waste as well. And it will not only that, it will also create some entrepreneurship, urban entrepreneurs, those who can work on that organic farming, particularly the supply in each and like Zomato type organizations we can set up. So these kind of initiatives we can focus on that basis. And I think energy is a very important issue, and green energy particularly is a burning issues. We are saying burning issues, but we have to convert it into the fuel. And so as that it can channelize our country. So that is my concluding remarks today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So hope we will see another time, and hope we will enjoy a lot. And as I always mention, that the team should be small but concrete. And today those people has joined, and it's really a brainstorming session. And thanks to all of you on behalf of SAIARD. Thanks to all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.